What's up, guys? Welcome to another installment of EAP TV. Today I have Andrea joining me on the channel, and she's going to break down for you guys how she picked up 40 leads from one Facebook ad. Coming up. All right, guys, so it's been a while since we've had a case study here on the channel, and the biggest reason being we've pushed out a lot of new updates, smart pop-ups just came out, there's a lot of new features hitting lead sites. And with all those new updates and tools, we have to make sure we're providing updated educational material to make sure you guys are comfortable with all those new resources. That being said, I want you guys to know we haven't forgotten what probably brought a lot of you here to the channel in the first place, and that's the actionable strategies that you guys can actually take from here and go execute today. Now, I'm gonna have plenty of commentary on this ad and the setup itself at the end of the video, but for right now, I'm gonna hand you guys straight over to Andrea.
My name is Andrea LeFavor, and I'm an agent here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And Kelvin asked for me to share my story with you of a recent squeeze page Facebook campaign that I did that was very popular, and it did really well for me. One of the things that I found is that some of the Facebook campaigns that were working for other agents, like single-story homes and foreclosures, were not converting well for me. So I wanted to think of something that would provide a lot of content and usefulness to people that came to my site, but it would be hard for them to get it somewhere else. And one of the things that's very popular in our city are gated communities. People like them for their exclusivity and for their security. And what I found was that that's something that's very hard to search on because of the way my MLS has structured that particular field in our data forms. So if you went to Zillow, the best that you could do to search for gated homes would be to search on remarks for a home or description with the word gated community. And what comes up would be a very limited scope compared to what's actually available. So I decided this was something that I wanted to try. So the first thing I had to do was set up a market, and that took research on my part as well. It's not only difficult for buyers to find it, it's also difficult for me to find as well. So I had to research all of the gated communities in Baton Rouge and put together that market in my IDX dashboard. And once I created that market of all the subdivisions, then I was ready to create my page. I did not put a limitation on the price of the homes, just simply if it was in those neighborhoods, that went into that market. So I'm going to show you the page that people were taken to for my ad. It's very simple. It's Baton Rouge Homes for Sale and Gated Communities. And, you know, I really followed Kelvin's lead on this with some of the templates he's provided in the past. And I have on here, here's your gallery of homes. I let them know they're going to be getting a weekly update of new homes to hit the market. I also let them know that they can opt out at any time, but I injected a little bit of humor in there and, you know, let them know that, but why would you want to? It's a great list. And then it goes straight into the homes that are available for sale in those subdivisions. And this, of course, I just made a page of it so they could, you know, visit other parts of my website. When I set up this ad, I originally started with a squeeze page where people would key in their name and their email address. And I'm going to show you which one I started with. This one is the one I started with. The first thing that I kept in mind was Kelvin's advice to keep your verbiage the same and description as you went from your Facebook ad to your squeeze page to the actual page itself. That created trust and uniformity. So I have as my title here, looking for a private and secure neighborhood. You know, sign up for my list of Baton Rouge homes. You're going to find when I show you my Facebook ads, I use the same verbiage for that, and I tried to stick with the same pictures as well. I started my ad on the 17th, and it went through the 26th for 8 days. I ran it with this particular page, this squeeze page, for 2 days until the 19th. And I was finding that my conversion was not very good. I just wasn't getting what I had hoped for, and I was getting false information. So I left my ad running in Facebook, but I changed my destination URL for the ad to a squeeze page that was a Facebook squeeze page in my EAP dashboard. So I'm going to show you that squeeze page here that I used. It's very simple. I picked a photo, you know, just something that looked like a gated community, looking for a private, secure neighborhood. And of course, I added on this, you won't find this list on Zillow. So you'll notice that for the button, I used continue with Facebook. I believe there are two other choices. You can choose sign up with Facebook or log in. But I felt like this was less intrusive. It made them feel like they were already on Facebook. They were just going to continue on to the page. Once I switched to this on the 19th, for the last 6 days of my ad, my conversion went through the roof. And I ended up getting 40 leads total in the 8 days, most of those in the last 6 days, for $77.80. So I came in with a conversion between a cost per lead between $1.90 and $2 per lead. And I was thrilled with that compared to some of the other costs that I see people spending to get leads on Facebook. So I'm going to show you my Facebook ad that I use and tell you a little bit about that. You're going to notice that I created a campaign, just gated community conversions. So going into my campaign, you'll notice I have an ad set of buyer leads. And I'm going to show you how I set up my market on that. You'll notice that I did a budget of $10 per day. That's something that Kelvin has recommended in the past. And I do find that gives you better traction than, say, $5 a day on your ad. You'll notice that I had it set to run continuously. I took Kelvin's advice on that because I used to set my ads to end on a certain date. And Kelvin had taught us in a couple of our videos that don't set it to end. Just run it continuously and turn it off when you're ready. That way you can turn it back on later if you want to, tweak it if you want to, but you won't lose the traction that you've already gained on that particular ad. As far as my audience details, I targeted people who lived in Baton Rouge and the suburbs around me. I targeted an age of 40 to 65 plus. You typically do not see first-time home buyers buying in gated communities in Baton Rouge. Those homes are very expensive. So I went with an age group that I felt was probably on their second or even third home. You'll notice that I excluded anybody that had a profession in the real estate industry. I excluded the lower income brackets simply because to buy in those communities, you typically have to have an income over $100,000. And I excluded renters as well. Renters typically don't go from renting to a gated community. As far as the audience that I did want to match, I looked for people who had an interest in gated communities or buying a house. I chose behaviors likely to move, and I targeted incomes $100,000 and over. I also targeted homeownership of homeowners, and that was because I really wanted to try to get some seller leads out of this as well. You'll notice that on my placements, I did not place it in instant articles or the right column for Facebook. I only targeted in the feed section. I also did not feed my ad to Instagram or Audience Network. I optimized my ad for conversions, and I set my conversion window for 1 day click. And that was because most people who click on the ad, they're either going to convert at that point or they're not going to. So the next thing were the actual ads that I developed. And you'll notice that I did 3 of them. I wanted to test which images worked better, so I chose 3. Everything about them was the same except the picture. And I found that actually they all converted the same. So that was just a little experiment I wanted to do. So I wanted to show you at least one of those ads so you could get an idea of how I designed it. So you'll notice that my website URL is my squeeze page. And I did a call to action of sign up to let people know they were going to be signing up for something. My text was very simple, very similar to what I used in my squeeze page. Looking for a private and secure neighborhood. I've compiled a list of gated community homes. And again, I made sure to point out that they could not get this list on Zillow, which I'm hoping really showed the value of it. And then, of course, my title was just gated community homes for sale. So I was thrilled to see that this was the first Facebook campaign that worked really well for me. And I was emailing Kelvin as it was going on to let him know how well it was going. And he was cheering me on. And in the end, like I said, I got 40 leads in 8 days. Most of those, like I said, came in the last 6 days. And I spent less than $80 to do it. So I hope this has helped you some, and this is something that you might be able to use. And thank you, Kelvin, for having me on.
Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time to address the rest of the EAP family. I'm sure everybody really appreciates it. Guys, if you want to connect with Andrea, in the description below this video, I'm gonna have a link to her Facebook page as well as her website. You can also tag her in a post in the BeatZillow Facebook group. Now, Andrea hammered home a lot of the base principles when it comes to successful Facebook ads, that being consistent messaging between your landing page and your Facebook ad itself, not setting an end date so you can resume and pause the ad whenever you please, as well as excluding anybody in her area that does work in the real estate industry. Now let's break down some of the key points of Andrea's success. The very first thing she focused on was finding an effective angle for her specific market. It's important to understand that not every single angle is going to be applicable to every single market. Gated communities worked out very well for her, it might not work for you, so what is going to work for your market? Once she established the angle she wanted to use, she leveraged that angle in her ad and on her landing page. Gated communities themselves are not the angle, the privacy and security they provide are the angle. What specific angle is going to work for you in your market? That's the question that I want to give you as you leave this video. What angle is going to be specific for you in your market? Post it down below in the comments if you want. Reach out to me via email if you want to talk about it. I would love to discuss it more. Also, guys, if you enjoy what we do here on this channel, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got new videos and strategies coming out every single week, so I guarantee you won't regret it. And I think by the time this video goes live, we're gonna have a full blog post breaking down everything that you saw in this video, so that's gonna be down in the description. Make sure you head on back and check that out. And as always, guys, it's such a pleasure, and I'll talk to you soon.